Hey everyone, it's Simplicity and welcome back to a new video. Today we have a create sim for a new series that I'm planning, which I haven't fully came up with a name yet, but I had a request for a certain type of series and I was like, you know what, that sounds kind of fun because it's to do with like bioventures and I think that'll be fun. So that is what we are doing today, is making my sim for that. So I don't know, I started off with this base sim who kind of popped up and I was like, she's pretty. I think I had her saved in my bin maybe, but I didn't really have to change a whole lot about her, which was kind of nice. I felt like her face was kind of perfect because she doesn't look like a whole lot of my other sims. And I was like, okay, this might, work out for me. So I was trying to go a little bit heavier on the makeup for like an everyday sort of vibe, just because I'm like, she's gonna be wanting to get attention. So I'm gonna want to go a little bit heavier with it and just kind of, see what happens. And you're gonna see I test out a lot of options and trying to figure things out. And I was a little bit intentional with some of the things that I did, which I will explain when we get there. But this is Sloane Deveraux ends up being her name. And I initially had her named, I think it was like Carmen Fox. And then I sat with it and I was like, I don't know. It's not hitting for me the way that I would want it to. So I sat there, I was like, I like the last name Devereaux. What can I do for the first name? So we went in and I added in some contour and I have no idea where this one came from, but like I kind of love it. It gives me like everything. It's kind of cool. There's some stuff in here I was like, I don't know when I got this. So I played around with some of these new things that I had no idea that I had, but I don't know. I think she ends up being quite pretty in the end. So I just kind of layered a bunch of stuff on top to just, simulate what I could. And then I gave her, I think it was a red lip and like an overline. So there's somebody cutting the glass. But I think I gave it like an overlined red lip, and I went with this kind of like red tone because I felt like it was very pretty on her skin tone. And then I wanted to give her kind of like a glossy look, but I didn't like that one, so I went with the one that I normally use. And then we hopped into eyebrows, and I messed around with all of these, and I'm pretty sure I went straight back to the ones that she had initially, because I didn't love the way any of the other ones looked on her, unless I went with the one different one that I kind of liked. But I want to say I went with the first initial ones, like these, and then I tested out a few new eye colors, which I went ahead and saved, and she actually ends up being a brown-eyed sim, and I don't tend to make brown-eyed sims all too often, but I was going back and forth between like a few different colors, and I was trying to kind of figure out like a hazel too, but I loved the way the brown eyes looked on her. So I was like, I don't know, I feel like that's gonna be the vibe because a lot of my sims lately are green-eyed. So we went with that, and then I was looking for kind of like a loose wave kind of thing, kind of thinking kind of like socialite is kind of what I was going for. I loved this. And I went back and forth between so many hair colors because I felt like she could pull them all off. But I ended up going with this kind of like warm, I don't know if I'd classify it as a honey brown, but kind of like a warm honey brown, I guess, because I felt like it was what matched the best. And I don't make Sims with brown hair, brown eyes very often. So it was a big switch up for me because I loved the kind of like pinky blonde, but I don't know, I felt like the brown was the move for her. And then we went back into hairstyles, trying to see what one I liked and what one I didn't. And we, tried to figure that out. But I knew that I kind of wanted kind of like effortless but socialite vibes. I don't know how to entirely explain it. But this was the hair that I ended up going with. And then we looked through a few different options because I didn't really know what I wanted her style to be. Because she wasn't going to fully end up looking like a socialite. I don't think that's kind of the vibe that I went for anyways. I kind of went a bit more like urban with her, which I don't know, I kind of vibed with it. I thought it was kind of cute, but I did test out like a few different girly options, but then I found this and I was like, this is the option. So we went with this and I adjusted her cup size and then we went ahead and we added on my probably favorite skirt. And I was like, okay, we're gonna go with this one. We're gonna make it kind of like a black and I don't know, I feel like it's the vibe with like a pair of heeled boots. I don't know. I loved the way that it looked, and we went with these ones, and we went ahead and we accessorized a little bit. So I added on a necklace, some earrings. I tested out my big lashes. None of them, in my opinion, looked the way they should on her. So I went ahead and ignored them. And then earrings I actually kind of struggled with because I loved the way the hoops looked in gold on her. I wasn't a huge fan of like the silver, but I really liked the necklace in silver. So it was me trying to kind of figure this out. I ended up leaving the necklace silver and switching to a different pair of earrings, I believe, is what I ended up doing. But you're seeing me just kind of like test and figure it out. I don't know. None of it was exactly what I was after. And then we tested out a few other little eyelashes, which I didn't love. Um, what did I do? I think I went like a softer, daintier earring like these. And then I made them silver because I felt like that kind of worked and it wasn't too distracting. And then what else? I gave her a longer pair of nails. We did some tights, and then I went with tattoos because I was like, she's wearing an outfit that I feel like tattoos is going to, enhance this. I also gave her a belly button piercing, but we went through a bunch of different tattoo options, and I went with the one that has a heart on her thigh because I thought it was the cutest with the way that I had her dressed and didn't seem like it was too much, but also not too little. So we went with this. And I also have some body blush, but I didn't feel like it was the right vibe. And then we hopped into formal wear. And I have no idea what I gave her for this outfit. But you're gonna get to see me actually fully make an entire sim. Because normally I only do like the everyday outfits, and then the rest I do off camera. I liked this, but I didn't feel like it was the right vibe. So I don't believe I ended up going with it. I went with, oh, that's what I used. That dress with the cutout and the hoop. I'll end up going back to it. That was the one that I used. Because I haven't used it on anyone. So I was like, this could be a good time to use it. So I did this and I think a dark red tone like that. And I actually did kind of like the patterned one, but I thought this was going to be the best. And then I paired it with these because they have a red heel. And then we went in and added all of her normal accessories right back in. You can definitely see a lot more of her tattoos this way. But it still looked okay, I thought. I didn't think it showed off like too much. And then necklace didn't really work with this. We went with a bit of a thicker earring, I believe. And then I switched up her hairstyle because I wanted something that was going to kind of elongate and go with the one shoulder kind of vibe. And I was like, I know that I want like a kind of wavy kind of hairstyle and I ended up going with this one because I felt like it balanced out quite nicely. And then sleepwear, I went in and I did the hair and I completely forgot to do the outfit, which you were going to watch. Because I go and I do the entire athletic outfit before I come back and actually do the outfit for sleepwear. But I wanted something that was kind of like intentionally messy, but not like, I don't know, kind of like she knows what she's doing if she has her hair tied back kind of thing. So I don't remember. I think I went with this one because I thought it was a little bit messier. And then I also actually switched up her makeup. So this was me being a little bit intentional. I have some lipsticks. I was trying to see if I could do just kind of like a shine kind of vibe. And I was like, I'm not really vibing with it. But I wanted to give her kind of like a smudged eyeliner kind of look, like she was up all night kind of thing. So this is me trying to find exactly what I'm looking for because, like, in my mind, I had it. I just don't think I actually had what I wanted in game, but I went with the smokier one because it's not perfect. And then I had these kind of lipsticks here that are kind of like not perfect on her lip shape. And I was like, okay, these could work to kind of look like it's been like kind of smudged and kissed off kind of thing. I was like, this could work. It's kind of a little bit like blotchy, and I don't know. I thought it was kind of a cool vibe to go with it. And then I ended up actually using like a base game kind of smudged out one just to look a little bit darker. And then this was me switching over to athletic wear because the outfit didn't even cross my mind. So I hopped into hair, and I knew that I wanted a ponytail with some like loose face pieces. I wasn't set on this one though. Um, I loved the highlight ponytail though, but I kind of wanted her to have like some face flaming. I don't know what it was. It was just kind of where I was at with it. And I don't know if I went with the one I'm thinking I went with, but there was one that I actually just liked a lot on her. Okay, so it wasn't this one, but I'm guessing this is the one that I went with, which is totally fine. And then I just paired it with some Bill Sims sets with some tops and the matching bottoms, some shoes, and we put on all of her accessories again. So the tattoos definitely make a pretty big difference, but I still think it's pretty cute. And then I hopped back into sleepwear because I was like, I didn't do that. So I added her accessories and stuff on first, but I knew that I wanted something a little bit more scandalous, I guess I would say, for her sleepwear. So I was just trying to figure out exactly what one, and I went with this, but I made it a red instead. And then I removed her shoes, and we were good to go. Swimwear, I kind of went a little bit back and forth on, so I don't normally use a two-piece like top and bottom. Normally I use like a set, but I actually ended up using a top and bottom today because I thought it was going to be what I liked the most on her. So I paired these two together, which it's not super scandalous, but I ended up liking it because there's a cheetah, like a leopard print. I was like, this is kind of fun. And then I don't remember if I gave her sandals. I might have actually kept them off. But we added her accessories and stuff back in. And then for hair, I think I tried to kind of go like messy, wet humidity kind of look for this. I was very intentional. I don't know why, but that was just kind of what I was feeling, which is probably why it took me like an hour and a half to make this sim, not gonna lie. But I'm very happy with the way that she turned out. So it did end up working out in my favor. What did I end up doing? This is cute. Um, Maybe I ended up going with a pulled up hairstyle. I have a feeling that I probably did because I don't normally leave the hair down when it comes to bathing suit stuff. But maybe I went with, no, I feel like I definitely went with something that was tied up. Because, I don't know, something in my mind about going to the beach and not having your hair tied up kind of like messing with me, even in just like The Sims. Because I'm like, I don't know. I can't entirely remember what I went with, but I guess we'll see. Maybe it was this. It was definitely that. Because I liked the way that it looked kind of like messy and intentional, like she just kind of like threw it up. And then I looked through sunglasses because I was like, I actually ended up going with these ones though, and I put them in black, and I was like, that's actually kind of cute whenever they're in a more muted color. And then I gave her some earrings. Technically I wanted something that was kind of like a statement earring, but I don't think I did. I think it was something a little bit more dainty. And then outerwear. I was looking and I'm like, do I have like a faux fur kind of coat vibe? I didn't. But I was like, I have sweater dresses. So let me see what I can do with that. I actually ended up going with this one with a pair of with a thigh-high boots. I went with these and I recolored this one, I think it was, to a red and a black. And it's very different than what I'm used to. But I actually kind of liked it a lot. It kind of adds like some nice dimension. I don't know, I liked it. And then we added on her normal accessories and everything. I debated on a body blush, but I wasn't fully set on it, and I don't know what was up with those gloves, but it caused a weird glitch. And then I looked through hair, and I was like, well, I could do something like a beanie, but I actually kind of liked the messy updo for this. And then we went in, and I adjusted her body proportions just a little bit. For traits, we went with charismatic, irresistible, flirty, party animal, non-committal, maybe? I'm pretty sure I removed the snob one off. And then we went with Master Romancer. We did grilled salmon, electronica, and I went with black. No, I went with red. I was thinking black or red. And then I named her Carmen, and I was like, I'm gonna switch it up to Sloane, and that is it for today's video. So I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, you can hit the like button down below. If you want to see some more videos from me, go ahead and subscribe. I post 2 to 3 times a week right now. If you are already subscribed and want notifications for when I post, hit that bell down below. Make sure that your YouTube notifications are turned on, and I will see you all next time. Bye, lovelies.